may be seated. It's my pleasure to welcome up someone who has dedicated her life to ensuring the future of our Jewish community. And by that I mean HEA, the many years that Tammy Dollin has served this community alongside Rabbi Dollin. But not only that, Tammy's also dedicated her professional life to working for the Harold Grinspoon Foundation, and specifically the Life and Legacy community. When you take a moment and think about how many Jewish organizations have been able to ensure their long-term future so that our children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren and beyond will have Jewish institutions, community, and organizations to support them so that they continue to be together and in solidarity with Israel and Jews all around the world. That is the work of Tammy Dollin, and we are honored to have you speak to us today on this Life and Legacy Shabbat and all that you have brought to the many parts of our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi Shulman and Eitan Cantor, for inviting me to share your bima this morning. Shabbat shalom to everyone. Today I want to talk about fire. Fire is a fascinating thing. It can illuminate, it can destroy. It can warm, and it can burn. It can comfort, and it can challenge. Fire has a dark place in the history of our people. Fire destroyed the first and second holy temples in Jerusalem and exiled our people to all corners of the earth. The fires of the Inquisition sought to annihilate us. The fires of Auschwitz are seared into our collective Jewish memory, destroying whole worlds and more than a third of every Jew alive then. I just returned from Philadelphia, where the Jewish governor's house was firebombed on the first night of Seder. Fire was used to force Israelis from their homes in the Gaza envelope on October 7th, 2023. Fire was thrown 2 weeks ago in Boulder with the intent to kill Jews. But we Jews seek light. Our Torah begins with darkness, and the world was void, vast, and dark. And God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. And God saw that it was good. The book of Numbers that we are reading these months recalls our travels in the wilderness, where a column of fire by night illuminates the way forward. Our covenantal charge as a people is to be a light to the nations. We are commanded to have an eternal light in our holy places. We start and end each holiday with light. We remember our loved ones with light. For Jews, light is all that is good. It is Torah, it is enlightenment. This week's Torah portion, Behalotcha, opens with a command to Aaron. Behalotcha et hanerot, raise up the lights of the menorah. Not just to light them, but to kindle them, to hold the flame there until the flame rises on its own. Rashi teaches that Aaron had to hold the flame steady until it could burn independently, that his job was to ignite something lasting. That is the Jewish charge to the world, not just to spark a moment, but to kindle a future. And that to me is the essence of legacy. Last Sunday, I traveled to Boulder. I saw many of you there. We participated in the Run for Their Lives, a nonpartisan gathering held every Sunday in over 240 cities across the United States. Its only purpose is to keep in our hearts and in our minds the hostages so cruelly kidnapped by Hamas on October 7th, 2023. As I stood there, I observed the snipers on the rooftops, drones buzzing and hovering above, helicopters circling the Pearl Street Mall, and blockades to prevent vehicles and control the exits. There were groups of heavily armed police, SWAT teams, and National Guard soldiers. They were there to protect us, to protect me as I stood in solidarity. This was the place where just 1 week prior, fire was used to terrorize, to harm, to maim, and to kill. And our response, the Jewish response, was to show up, to shine light in these dark spaces, to declare that we are one people, to affirm our right to gather peaceably and remind the world there is another way. I want to talk about the Jewish organizations that showed up and how quickly they did. Jews mobilize fast. You say crisis, we say committee. You say gather, and 14 organizations show up with banners, bottled water, and a strategic plan. The JCC of Boulder, founded in 1984, took a lead role. The Anti-Defamation League was present, founded in 1913. UJA Federation of New York flew in for the day, founded in 1917. Jewish Colorado was there, founded in 1946. Stand With Us brought us together, founded in 2001. Congregation Bonei Shalom, whose members were directly affected, founded in 1981. The HEA was there too, founded more than 90 years ago. We showed up because we are one people, one heart. That this response could come together so quickly is because, as they say, we built the firehouse before there was a fire. I travel all over North America for my work helping Jewish organizations build endowments so they can sustain themselves into the future. Do you know how most Jewish communities started? They pretty much all started the same way. Often around the mid to late 1800s, a few men, they were always men, gathered for prayer in someone's living room. They didn't just host programs and daven together, they became a container for Jewish life. And they are what we know today as our Jewish ecosystem, a Jewish firehouse, if you will. My own history with the HEA started some 30 plus years ago. I was attracted to the shul because of the rabbi. But over the years, we built a new building, we started a preschool, we started a camp. Ramon, the Rockies' first director of education, is now your charismatic and energetic senior rabbi. And a supremely gifted and talented counselor and musician is now HEA's music director. And getting back to the preschool, this August, my children's child, Carmi, who's in the cry room right now, will start in the new infant care room at the HEA preschool. His teachers are now our preschool directors. That is L'Dor Vador, from generation to generation. We don't inherit a synagogue like this by chance. The original members of this synagogue didn't just want a place to daven. They didn't just want a building. They wanted a place of Jewish gathering, nourishment, and growth, a place to be surrounded by and guided by Jewish traditions, texts, music, and values. As I look around the synagogue this morning, I picture them. I see where they sat every Shabbos morning, week after week after week. Take a moment to imagine who will be sitting in your seat when you are no longer here. For many of us, the strollers that we see today are not ours. They belong to our children. And they're a lot more expensive than the ones we had, by the way. The children who grace the halls with their laughter, study in our religious school, grab a cookie off a table at Kiddush, stand up on the bima for a bar or bat mitzvah, are not ours. They're our children's children. And that is the way of humanity, as we learn from Honi, the circle maker in the Talmud, who, when asked why he was planting a tree whose fruit he would not likely be alive to benefit from, he answered, "I plant this tree not for me, but for those who will come after me." We are here today because someone before us made a choice to plant seeds that they might never see bloom. And that's what a legacy gift does. It builds an endowment, a financial foundation that helps a synagogue thrive in good times and survive in hard times. It makes sure that the HEA always has rabbinic leadership to guide and inspire us. music that finds its way into our hearts, programs that create connections between people, and sacred spaces that lift and inspire us. An endowment gives us breathing room to change with the times, to invest in high-quality video and sound equipment when a pandemic prohibits us from gathering in person, to obtain, train, and use technology and social media platforms so we can reach people where they are, to maintain our space so that it grows and changes as we do, to harden our perimeter, hire security guards, buy cameras, and build fences so those who enter our building are safe and protected as times change, and that is required. For those of you for whom numbers tells a story, I look at my friend David Rosenthal. Let me share some numbers. Financial professional Brian Klontz warns that if 20% of your operating budget isn't coming from endowment by the year 2030, your organization will be in fiscal crisis. HEA's endowment, thank God they have one because our leaders thought to start one, it's currently $2.8 million. The endowment currently contributes about 3% of the operational budget of the HEA. We have a goal. The endowment goal is $10 million, and with the sale of the land in a few years, we are close to halfway there. By the way, we in Jewish institutions are the envy of the nonprofit world for crisis and annual fundraising. But we didn't make building endowments a priority until the last decade, and now we have no choice. Do you know when the best time to start an endowment is? Yesterday. 20 years ago. Yesterday. And the second best time? Now. Today. Those of us who are baby boomers are passing our wealth on to the next generation, at least what we aren't spending. I was at a boat show in Sarasota a few years ago, and I saw a name on a yacht, beautiful yacht, and it said, "Sorry, kids." Yes, we are living longer, we are spending more than generations previous, and most of our remaining wealth will go to our children. But in the midst of the largest transfer of generational wealth ever in history, which is likely to see $6 trillion in charitable giving alone, we must claim a portion of that for the Jewish future. Most of it will go to universities, hospitals, museums, and more. And I'm not worried about them because they have very large and very sophisticated operations. Most Jewish organizations have no dedicated fundraising staff at all. Thanks to dedicated volunteers, many in this room, and a cultural value of generosity and giving, we raise enough to support a robust Jewish communal ecosystem. But what about tomorrow? What happens when a smaller population, and we are facing a demographic cliff, a smaller population faces tighter budgets and increased needs? When parents face rising costs and diminishing incomes and greater competition? When security needs rise? When adaptation requires innovation and experimentation? How will we ensure our children and their children will have access to Jewish day schools, to Jewish camp experiences, to safe college experiences? These, we know, are the elements that shape Jewish identity. No one else is looking out for us. We must take care of our own. And as the great Rabbi Hillel said, if not us, then who? Our legacy is only known after we are gone, but each of us is building our legacy every day. Every action that we take shapes the way people we love remember us when we are no longer here. Making a legacy commitment is a thoughtful and intentional declaration of what matters most to you. You don't need great wealth to leave a legacy, just great values. Did you know that 93% of American wealth isn't in cash? It's in real estate, stock portfolios, IRAs, life insurance. It's in businesses and investments. A legacy gift comes from that wealth, not what's in your pocket today. It comes after your lifetime. Did you know that only 32% of Americans have a will? In college-educated, postgraduate college-educated Americans, it's about 54%. Who will decide where your assets go when you're gone? Ask yourself, what do I care enough about to carry into the future? What helped shape my children? Where did I find meaning and identity, belonging, friendship? My husband and I made our legacy gift to several Jewish organizations, including the HEA. I relied on the theory of 10 dimes, which I learned from Gail Littman of blessed memory, who started the Life and Legacy program just 12 years ago. If our total wealth is 10 dimes that I have stacked here, I designate 1 dime, 10%, for the community that helped me raise my family. We signed a letter of intent, and we made a change online to our 401k. It was simple, it didn't cost a thing, and I can change it or alter it at any time. To the 67 legacy donors, many who are in the room this morning, who have already made legacy commitments to the HEA, I, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. If you haven't yet finalized your plans, which means making legal arrangements for HEA or your favorite organization to get the gift, we encourage you to do so. And there are people in the community to help you do that. For those who haven't yet made a legacy commitment, as I said, it's easy to do. It starts with a conversation. You can speak to Rabbi Shulman, Eitan Cantor. You can speak to our president, Peter Gottlieb, or our past president, Evan Klein, Carol Abrams, who's the chair of the Legacy Committee, or any of the members on the committee, Barbara Carroll, Evie Cohen, Eileen Naiman, Jonathan Drucker, Michelle Price, Buddy Slatkin, Morty Kadovitz, Justin Coburn, and ex officio members Shelley and Ken Lazier. Each one of us can be a part of this sacred chain. As I stood in Boulder last week, I felt a sense of connection and responsibility to those who came before me. I felt gratitude that I live in a time when I can stand proudly as a Jew. And I felt hope that we are carrying Jewish life forward. Legacy is not something we leave behind. It's something that we send forward. We can be the spark for someone else's Jewish journey. Those who came before us lit the flame, and it is up to us to keep that flame alive. Let's make sure that we are not just sparking a moment, rather that we are kindling a bright future. Shabbat Shalom.